Yo, what is going on, people? So today I'm going to be discussing the thought or idea of Luffy using Haki pre-timeskip subconsciously. Now we know Kings or Conquerors Haki can be used subconsciously, and we've seen that many times throughout the series, you know, with Luffy at Marineford when he knocked all the fallen Marines, and Ace in the ASL flashback. And obviously for it to be used subconsciously is when the user is going through some like traumatic or emotional experience, like when something is about to happen, they want to stop it. It can possibly trigger King's Haki, not every time but sometimes. And we saw with Ace, and you know, when Luffy was about to get hurt by that bandit, he activated it. So there's definitely some correlations of the user going through some kind of like experience to awaken their Haki subconsciously. But there's a case with Luffy and the bull at Subodi where Luffy didn't really have any sort of experience, but he triggered it anyways. But that's kind of like it was more casual, so it could be either or. But with that, I can probably say that armament and observation follow the same route. They can also be used subconsciously as well, or without the user actually knowing they're using Haki, given they go through some kind of experience. My question here is that, is there a chance Luffy might have possibly used armament and observation Haki pre-timeskip? And I definitely think there were points in the story where Luffy did use it pre-timeskip. A lot of people bring up the, you know, the Mihawk versus Luffy, and during their battle at Marineford, you know, where Luffy kind of saw the future and avoided an attack that could have possibly chopped his arms off, similar to the whole Katakuri seeing the future. But some people still say that might be some kind of swordsman skill where they kind of like try to intimidate the enemies, because Zoro did something similar to Monet at Punk Hazard. But I personally don't agree with that, because it doesn't really make any sense, to be honest. I definitely think that was Luffy using observation subconsciously. And it also brings me to the theory that, you know, when your Haki is potent enough, it can possibly protect you. In this case, Luffy's observation activated because it tried to protect Luffy. And you know, Kobe is also a good example. When he saw people dying during the War of the Best, he kind of awoken his own Haki observation, but it was a different type. So observation, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people pre-timeskip must have been using it without actually knowing. But I do feel like there's some condition required for them to awaken it and use it subconsciously. You know, Zoro also had something similar with the Breath of All Things, which I think is related to observation Haki. And you know, Zoro, he couldn't surpass Das Bones, so he was trying to overcome this wall, and his ambition might have helped him against Das Bones in that fight and basically made him win. So observation, I can definitely see it being used by people pre-timeskip without them actually knowing they were using it. Now ornament is probably where, you know, it's kind of impossible to find, because pre-timeskip, you know, everything before Rayleigh's explanation was invisible unless it was directly implied. You know, like the Aokiji versus Whitebeard, you know, the father Marines were like, yo, did Aokiji get stabbed and all of that, you know, did he die? You know, that was kind of implied. They were using Haki and it was invisible, but we know they were using Haki. Other times it's kind of impossible to know. Now a lot of people bring up Luffy versus Don Asino. Well, he's this guy in like a filler arc back in like East Blue, not East Blue, but like in the Grand Line. And the guy has a similar ability to Oven. He has a heat based ability, and that's where I got this whole video idea from, because a lot of people in the comment section were saying he used ornament Haki against him because of how dangerous his Devil Fruit is against Luffy, because you know, he uses heat, and you know, against Robber, Luffy, he can't really touch this man. It's like fighting a Kainu. He definitely needs Haki to beat this guy. But you know, it could just be like plot holes. You know, Luffy always wins. But if there's any case I think Luffy used Haki pre-timeskip, it was against Crocodile. Now I know he used the whole blood thing to bypass his intangibility and hit Crocodile, but the destructive force of his final attack against Crocodile was just off the charts. That attack broke through bedrock, and you know, bedrock is like the foundation of Earth. It's like way tougher than steel. Luffy, I don't know how Luffy pulled that off. I'll be honest here. I think it was definitely stronger than the attack he did on Rob Lucci at Enya's lobby. You know, like far stronger than that. And something else to note was that Crocodile also did his, you know, his strong attack. Mind you, this is like one of his, I think, probably his best attack he used on Luffy there, and it was a sharp one, a slicing attack. So you would expect Luffy's hands to like get a cut or something, but it was completely unscathed. Luffy did not sustain any injuries from that attack whatsoever. So I was kind of skeptical about that. I thought it was like the blood on his fist or something, but it didn't make sense because the blood on his hands were too small to affect, you know, sand on that scale. And we also have to realize that Luffy was almost killed by a crocodile. He did die, but he ended up getting help. So, you know, going back to the whole idea that you have to have some kind of traumatic, or you have to be in like a dangerous situation to potentially awaken any haki at any given moment, it would make sense that, you know, with Crocodile and Luffy kind of like, he was at death's door so many times that his own ambition tried to protect him this time. And people also talk about Kaido's durability, whereas his haki is so strong and potent that even when he tries to kill himself, it tries to protect him. And that's where, you know, the guillotines break. They couldn't execute him, and that's why they call him immortal. And that could be a theory. I really like that theory, and there could be some correlations there, where there may be cases in the One Piece where if your haki is really good, you know, it's really on that level, it overflows and tries to protect you. And that's why I think Shanks is one of the most, I think he's one of the most untouchable dudes in the series. Like, I'm not even talking about durability, I'm talking about speed. And I think Shanks is probably specialized in observation and King's Haki, and we're probably gonna see more stuff with haki. You know, maybe Shanks might be the first person who does like some overflowing King Conquers, where like he can't even control it, it just takes out people on its own. But yeah, Shanks, he's definitely there when it comes to haki. So do you guys think there are cases that, you know, Luffy used ornament haki and observation haki pre-time skip? Again, I could be wrong on this whole thing, but this is something that was definitely worth discussing and talking about. You know, who knows, Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy may have all been using, you know, all three types of haki pre-time skip. You know, Luffy using conquerors, Zoro might have been using ornaments, we don't know, and Sanji might have been using observation. That's why maybe they're specialized in it. But anyways, comment down below what you think. Do you think it was possible? Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe for more One Piece content. It is Pharaoh, and I will see you guys later. Peace.